the first module. This one is about retracing.
Notice that we don't call it discovering.
Right, and that's intentional. The language of discovery carries a particular baggage. It implies that researchers arrive as outsiders who uncover something that was previously invisible or unknown. But the communities, species, and the ecosystems that we encounter have always had their own knowledge of that place, their own ways of reading the land, the seasons, the social dynamics, and the histories that shape them.
Reworlding asks us to be more careful than that. Rather than discovering the world, we engage with the traces of multiple worlds, traces left by communities, species, infrastructures, histories, and knowledge systems that have often been pushed to the margins.
So, what does retracing mean as a design capability in practice?
Essentially, retracing is about data collection. It's the work of surfacing knowledge about human and non-human ways of doing and caring, ways that are relevant to the socio-environmental challenge you're working with, but that don't automatically show up in official data or expert reports.
And before you can do that surfacing, you often have to do some unlearning. The division we have inherited between nature and culture, between technical knowledge and lived knowledge, between those considered experts and those considered laypersons, are not natural. They've been constructed. And these binaries have real consequences for who gets to participate, whose knowledge is taken seriously, and whose relationship to a place or a challenge is treated as irrelevant.
So, retracing is both about uncovering those divisions and what they do, but also bringing to the surface the interdependencies that those divisions have been hiding, the connections between a neighborhood and the land, between a community's food practices and the policies that shape them, between human and more than human actors that are already entangled, whether we acknowledge it or not.
Let's make this concrete with an example. Let's look at urban food systems.
Imagine a participatory design project working around food in a city neighborhood. A retracing approach doesn't start with calorie statistics or supply chain maps. It starts with questions like, what are the different cultures of growing, preparing, and sharing food that exist here? Who feeds whom and how? What knowledge about soil, seasons, and seeds has been carried from elsewhere? What does food mean in practice from a political, economic, social, and historical point of view?
This kind of tracing doesn't give you a clean picture. It gives you a messier, a richer one. It reveals that bias is embedded in dominant approaches to food policy or urban planning, like the assumption that food security is a problem to be solved through technocratic intervention, and it opens space for a more relational and radical understanding of what the challenge actually is, one that is harder to reduce to a single diagnosis or a band-aid solution.
And it pushes us to ask, how can we trace challenges together with more than human actors, such as soil microbiome, seed varieties, but also including seasonal rhythms that are part of food systems, but rarely treated as participants in design?
One thing worth pointing out, retracing isn't just analytical, it's also an affective practice with an emotional dimension. The more we engage with socio-ecological crises, the more we encounter grief, frustration, and disorientation alongside the data. Developing the capacity to hold that without shutting it down or being overwhelmed by it is part of what retracing requires.
The reading materials for this module will take you deeper into these ideas. Michel Bastian's work on more than human participatory research, Tommaso Venturini on exploring controversies with actor network theory, and work on multi-species ethnography. Together, they offer methodological starting points for developing your own retracing practice.
At the end of this module, we invite you to explore and contribute to the Atlas of Synergies, which is a collecting and living repository that gathers research approaches that reveal how humans and more than humans shape and care for their environments. You can browse it by theme, and there's already a diverse range of techniques in there, from agroecology, speculative fictions, and feminist practices to participatory design and multi-species research. You can search for approaches relevant to your own context, try them out, and reflect on what they might mean for your work. And if you have an approach to share, we'd love to hear from you. You can reach the Atlas at the link in the text of this module.
As you go through the materials, we leave you with a few questions. Where do you begin when you enter a design situation? Whose traces do you follow? And what might you be missing?